All right, the final version of the Whirlwind Deathblow build and a tier 100 Nightmare Dungeon on Hardcore. We've got Goa Ruins here. I've had to use a Shadow Resistance Flask because I'm not Shadow Resist capped, and I've got my Death Evasion Elixir on and nothing else. And we're just going to see how quickly it takes us to do this dungeon. And it's a pretty simple triple shout Whirlwind build. There's really not that much exciting going on when it comes to, you know, the rotation. You just spin. Obviously, you want to try and snapshot your damage increases with the Whirlwind itself, meaning, you know, you want to cast your shouts and be at full fury when you start spinning. Berserking as well, and try and maintain that for as long as possible. I hate this event, right? There's no point in killing these. Killing them makes it actually harder for you. But you can also probably notice something pretty interesting about this build already. I have a barrier. I'm running Temerity. But this build doesn't really use any Uber uniques. I have one equipped, which is the Grandfather, but that is obviously just a raw DPS increaser and by no means a mandatory item for the build at all. So you can play this without it. And I will include the non-Uber version in my build planner so that, you know, most people can follow it. And then anyone who has the Grandfather can just swap that right in without even having to think about it. Nice and easy. Now, instead of running Hota and weapon swapping with this build, the goal is just to spin. It's supposed to feel more like your traditional Whirlwind build. And then Deathblow there is to back you up when you need something to disappear fast. And we have a lot in the build that really helps sort of like promote that. So if I don't like these guys, boom, they're gone, right? You'll got to make sure you get those resets. If you don't, it can punish you with a bit of a long cooldown. But in a way, the cooldown itself is not too much of a problem because we're running Skullbreaker, which has pretty much the same cooldown as Deathblow if you miss it. So it lines up with your next overpower as well, which is really, really nice. But this isn't an overpower build. It's just there to multiply the damage. I'm just killing a few more enemies here so you guys can actually see the combat. This dungeon is unbelievably quick. I didn't farm this. It's just the one I happened to get. So, you know, it is what it is. But as you can see, I didn't take any damage to our health at all throughout that at all. And now we're going to go fight probably one of the tankier bosses you could pick to do. She also hits like a truck, this boss. So I'm actually interested to see how I do here. Now, we don't have breaking. So on my pet, I actually do have the 2 Uber Stones. But there is an argument to be made for dropping the damage reduction stone for breaking on a boss, because I probably would have just killed her there instead of now having to do a 3rd death blow. But as your gear improves, and certainly as you hit more Ubers, this will turn into a 1-shot or a 2-shot every single time. So for most Uber bosses, you know, like the non-Dorial ones, non-Malthus ones, like Farshan, Grigor, and Beast and Ice, those are all one-shottable. Easy. Like every time, 100%. Because that death blow can hit for up to about 70 mil with this loadout. And we'll quickly go through the build itself. I forgot to say, but there will be a build planner in the description down below. So if you want to have a look at it in a written format, then that will be there for you as well. But key components, we got Urits here. This is just good for any Berserk style build, but obviously if you have a Shaco, you can drop that right in. Of course, a Temerity, and there's a big reason why we have Temerity. It's kind of like the poor man's Salix, gives you the ability to play from behind something rather than taking damage directly to your health. And what's changed this season, I don't think anyone's really clocked onto this, but you can now heal with Invigorating Fury. Before, this actually didn't work with Temerity, and now it does. So as we spend Fury, we heal and we get the barrier. And of course, we're also healing through our shouts because we have Raid Leader as well, which gives us a heal per second while the shouts are active, which is quite a lot of the time because we're running Bold Chieftains for cooldown reduction and also some other stuff. We are using Overkill. This is the biggest damage multiplier for Death Blow. Also gives it a really nice AoE, which can help capture resets in case you accidentally whiff it. And this is a Max Fury build, so we're using the dual wield with Magnum Opus and a one-handed mace. Important to use a one-handed mace so we can use Wallet. And every skill is set to dual wield. because you need to in order to make use of the damage multiplier on the magnum opus. Like I said, I have a grandfather. If you don't have a grandfather, just use a regular two-hander. I would move Conceited down and then have something like Limitless Rage up here, or even Aspect of the Elements if you prefer up here on the amulet. Then, Bold Chieftains and Encroaching Wrath. Now, I wouldn't recommend having resource regen on both of these rings. It's just what I have. So refer to the build planner for all of the stats on all of these, because my gear is far from perfect. And the same goes for the amulet. My amulet's actually kind of a mess, so ignore the stats. Refer to the build planner for that. For the pet, now, like I said, you could probably drop Safeguard for breaking, which is the one that will basically make enemies permanently vulnerable. And that will help you a great deal on the bosses if you're lacking damage there. But for me, I'm on hardcore, so I'm always going to play it a little bit safer. Resource support, what was I saying there? Seaport. This is really important for this build. We actually run no resource generator. This is it. But my God, this will keep you full fury all of the time. No problems whatsoever. You can see I do have the 2 Uber Stones here. But if I didn't, I would have breaking there. And if I didn't have this here, I would just probably put initiative there. So it would teleport to me if it's not near me to make sure I do get this, or it's casting Tempest on enemies near me, making them vulnerable, etc. But otherwise, this loadout will be exactly what you want to use. As for skills, I'll kind of briefly go through it. But again, you primarily want to refer to the, build guide to get the point-by-point breakdown on this one. But the only really exciting stuff here is that we're making sure we've got bleeding enemies here with this as well, because we have Disembowel in this build, and that's for cooldown reduction, so it's very, very important that we're bleeding as many enemies as possible. Full Shout Infestment, no resource regen, again, literally don't need it, it's insane. Death Blow for Berserking, this is our primary source of Berserking and allows us to maintain it basically forever. And then we do have Invigorating Fury. Like I said, this is huge because it can heal the Temerity and generate like an unlimited barrier. It's ridiculous. It's practically invincible with this build. And it's unconstrained because unconstrained applies a damage bonus to Death Blow, whereas Unbridled Rage wouldn't. Unbridled Rage would be great because you'd heal more, your Whirlwind would hit more, but your Death Blow would suffer. So I'm trying to focus on killing bosses because that's where Whirlwind really does have issues. And to be fair, I've been having absolutely no trouble mowing down tier 100s with this build all day today. It's been great fun. As for glyphs, we've got Disembowel, like I said. Cooldown reduction on this is fantastic for speed farming. We have Ambidextrous, which is a general all-round power boost. Also, it buffs all of the blue nodes here on the Carnage board, which is very, very, very strong. Full damage investment in Berserking and Max Fury, as you'd expect. We don't fortify with this build because fortifying with barrier is goofed and just doesn't work, so we're avoiding that. We have Wrath. We're scaling Wrath really hard because we have Grandfather. Now, if you don't have Grandfather, use Territorial instead. And my build planner will reflect that on the website. And then up here is Disembowel, Blood Rage, of course. And then we have Bonebreaker. And the reason we have Bonebreaker is because basically it's only going to get consumed when we use the Death Blow. And the Death Blow is only for like killing really like dangerous elites and bosses. So it just sits there ready for us to use when we need it. And then coming up into the, I believe this is the Flawless Technique board. Yeah, this helps us generate the crit that we need to make sure that we're critting nearly all of the time because we don't have Dire Whirlwind on a two-hander. And it also helps make sure the death blows are crits when they come in. And, it's a very, very nice board in general anyways. It's got a nice cold resist, max life here, crit damage, and then some tankiness and more crit damage up here with Exploit finally for our vulnerability. Most things don't survive for more than 3 seconds, but like I said, breaking can kind of help bridge that gap if that happens. But there it is. Sorry this one took so long. It took me a while really to fine-tune it and get it as powerful as it is. And a shout out to Beat for helping me sort of get the final touches on this build done. And to a point where it's actually just an absolute mean machine, a fucking destroyer of dungeons. Probably one of the more, I would say, speedy farmers for like, pretty much everything except from Uber bossing in the entire game. But yeah, build planner down below. Let me know what you think. Obviously, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But yeah, until the next one, thanks for watching. Peace.